Hello everyone, welcome back to another easy online German video training. Today I'm going to tell you something about the second of the German cases. We're going to talk about the genitive or about the declension in the genitive case. The genitive mostly implies an ownership or a quality or certain characteristics. If we have the genitive attribute, we can also have a genitive object, but we don't have this genitive object very often because we only have a few verbs which are followed by the genitive. And at first I will show you the forms of the nouns and the declension of nouns accompanied by defined and undefined articles. Der große Mann in the nominative case becomes des großen Mannes. Of the tall man, you would translate it into English. Die große Frau in the nominative case becomes der großen Frau. Of the tall woman. Das große Kind becomes des großen Kindes. Of the tall child. So if we compare these three, the masculine noun Mann with the feminine noun Frau and the neuter noun Kind, then you can see that we have the article des in front of the masculine and the neuter noun, and the article der in front of the feminine noun. And in all three cases the adjective groß gets the ending in, so it's always großen, and the masculine and the neuter noun Mann and Kind get the ending es, so Mannes and Kindes. The feminine noun in the genitive case does not get endings in the singular, only in the plural forms, and is the same with the undefined article. So let's continue with the plural forms of the nouns and the defined articles. Die großen Männer in the nominative form becomes der großen Männer. Die großen Frauen in the nominative form becomes der großen Frauen. And die großen Kinder in the nominative form becomes der großen Kinder. So if we compare these three once again, we have the same article in all cases, it's always der, and we also have the ending en, which we add to the adjective groß, so it's always großen, and we have the same plural forms which we also have in the nominative, Männer, Frauen and Kinder. Then we get to the declension of nouns accompanied by the undefined article. For example, ein großer Mann in the nominative case becomes eines großen Mannes. And eine große Frau becomes einer großen Frau in the genitive case. And ein großes Kind in the nominative case becomes eines großen Kindes. So if we compare these three, then we can see that we have the same undefined article in front of the masculine and the neuter noun, eines Mannes, eines Kindes. And we can see that the endings of the masculine and the neuter noun in the genitive case are also the same. Mannes, Kindes, so it's es. And the feminine noun does not get an ending in the genitive case, as I have already said. And eine große Frau becomes einer großen Frau, so the article eine in the nominative case gets an R in the genitive case. And the adjective groß gets the ending en again. Then we get to the plural forms. There are no plural forms of the undefined article in German. There are other languages like French, for example. They have plural forms of the undefined article, and this would be de, but we don't have this in German. So we can only decline the adjectives and the nouns, as we don't have plural forms of undefined articles. So große Männer in the nominative case becomes großer Männer. Großer Frauen is the genitive form of große Frauen. Große Frauen would be the nominative. And große Kinder in the nominative case becomes großer Kinder in the genitive case. So the adjective gets the ending er in all three cases, and the forms of the nouns are the same as the plural forms of the nouns in the nominative form. Männer, Frauen, Kinder. So in English you would have to use a preposition, for example, des großen Mannes, of the tall man. So in English you need a preposition to express this ownership. So you have to keep in mind that the undefined articles do not have plural forms in German. As you could see, there is only one plural form of the defined article in the genitive form, and this is der. And as I have already said, the singular forms of feminine nouns do not get endings. So this is what you have to keep in mind. You find all the genitive endings of a noun in a dictionary. For example, Pons is a very good one. But there are some rules concerning the endings of nouns in the genitive, and most of the time we have the ending s or the ending es. Sometimes we also have the ending n, and this is the case with all the nouns which are declined according to the n declension. For example, der Junge, des Jungen, or in the dative case, for example, dem Jungen, and the accusative case, den Jungen. It's the same with Präsident, der Präsident, des Präsidenten, dem Präsidenten, and den Präsidenten. So this is the n declension, and these nouns are always masculine. But this is not our topic of today. We continue with the forms of nouns in the genitive case. We can have short nouns which only have one syllable. So if we have a short noun like das Tier, for example, the animal, then you can decide whether you use an S or ES at the end. You can say des Tiers, or you can also say des Tieres. If we have a noun which has more than one consonant at the end, for example, in das Geschenk, then you can also decide whether you put an S at the end or whether you use the ending ES. So you can say des Geschenks, of the present, or you can say des Geschenkes. When we have a word which ends in double S, then we have to add the ending ES. For example, der Kuss, the kiss, des Kusses, of the kiss. There are some nouns which have the ending nis, so NIS, and then we have to add SES, or you can also say the S at the end becomes a double S, and then you have to put the ending ES at the end. So, for example, das Ereignis, the event, would be des Ereignisses in the genitive of the event. So the S becomes a double S, and then we have the additional ending ES. When we have forenames or family names, they also get the ending S. For example, Sonja's website, Sonja's Webseite. So the forename has the S at the end. But what is most important, we do not use an apostrophe in German like the English native speakers. So we just use an S and not apostrophe plus S. And it's the same if we say Mrs. Müller's mother, Frau Müller's Mutter. Then the family name gets an S, but without apostrophe. If we have names or proper nouns without article, we have to use the preposition von plus the dative form. For example, the expert of corn, then we say die Ausfuhr von Getreide. Or for example, the films of Spielberg, die Filme von Spielberg. It wouldn't sound very good if we said die Filme des Steven Spielberg. You could also say that, but if we only use the family name, then you would have to say von Spielberg. Or sometimes we have names which end in S, SZ, X or Z, and then the genitive form must end in apostrophe. For example, Klaus' book would be Klaus' Buch. We do not add an additional S, like in English. We just use the apostrophe for the additional S, but we cannot add it because we already have an S at the end of this name. Now we get to the genitive object. We have some verbs in German which are followed by the genitive, but these verbs are not very many, so we hardly have a genitive object. For example, I remember the friend. Ich gedenke des Freundes. Because we say jemandes gedenken. If you look it up in a dictionary, you might probably find einer Person, einer Sache or GDS gedenken or einer Person, einer Sache, and then you find GEN, which stands for genitive, gedenken. GDS always means jemandes, and jemandes always means genitive. Jemand is someone, and jemandes would be someone in the genitive case of someone, and jemandem means dative, and jemanden means accusative. And most of the time we have a genitive attribute, and this is a construction of two nouns, of which one noun stands in the genitive case, and this noun, which stands in the genitive case, indicates the owner. For example, the car of the woman is new. Das Auto der Frau ist neu. Der Frau is the noun in the genitive case, and it indicates the owner. The woman is the owner of the car. The car is the subject of the sentence, and this noun stands in the nominative case, das Auto. So we have a neuter noun in the nominative case, and then follows the female or feminine noun in the genitive case. So you would ask, whose car is new? Or in German, wessen Auto ist neu? Das Auto der Frau ist neu. The car of the woman is new. There are also some prepositions with the genitive, and one would be trotz, which means in spite of. So you could say trotz des schlechten Wetters, in spite of the bad weather. Or the preposition aufgrund, which means because of the bad weather we stayed at home. Aufgrund des schlechten Wetters sind wir zu Hause geblieben. Or there's another preposition, anstelle, instead of. These three prepositions are all followed by the genitive, and there are some others too, so if you're insecure which case you have to use after a certain preposition, then look it up in a dictionary. As I have already said, Pons is a very good one. It gives a lot of information concerning nouns, concerning plural forms of nouns or genitive endings of nouns, and also about set expressions. So I really can recommend Pons. And this was all for today. So I hope that you have understood what the genitive case expresses. The genitive case very often expresses an ownership or a quality or certain characteristics, and in English you have to use the preposition of, for example, to express this ownership. In German we have the genitive case. But anyway, you can repeat the forms and also the example sentences if you click on the link in the description below this video. And you can also check out the other cases, but I will also publish videos about the declension in the other cases, like dative or accusative, and I will also talk about certain prepositions which stand with certain cases, and there are also meltings of prepositions and defined articles. So stay tuned for the latest news on easyonlinegerman.com and also on this channel. For more information and free German online lessons, you can visit my website www.easy-online-german.com. So this was all for today. I hope that you've enjoyed the lesson. Stay tuned for more videos, and for today I say bye bye, or as we say in German, tschüss.